Good evening, good evening, good evening to everyone who is joining. Welcome to this evening of celebration and recognition. Can I ask, as you're joining today, would you please place your screen on speaker view, So if you hover, for those of you who don't know, if you hover to the top right hand corner of your screen, if you're on a desktop, and you'll see there to the top right view. And if you click on that, then it enables you to place the screen on speaker view. Because what we really want you to do is have the opportunity to engage with the speakers as they're speaking. We've got incredible speakers this evening. So if you would do that, please, that would be fantastic. Just as you're coming into the room, that would be wonderful. Thank you very much indeed. You can see so many of us joining on to the call now. We have around about 33 people, which is great. Just wonderful. Thank you very much. And as you're joining us, can you, for those of you who are familiar with the chat function in the Zoom room, which I'm sure many of us now are in this new world online, just tell us, please, where you're coming from. Where are you zooming in from this evening? So we want to ensure that the chat function is working. I am all the way from the wonderful, call it the island of Manchester. I'm from the Manchester area. It is the place which is most sought after in the UK, I'm sure. So, welcome. We've got Maria coming from Finsbury Park. Sharon Nugent. You're from London, marvelous. Rosemary, West London, Monique, welcome. Great to see you. Hi, Sharon, you're from, is this Devizes? Devizes from Wiltshire, in Wiltshire. Dartmoor in Devon, Michelle. You are most welcome, Dave from London. Good evening, everyone. Spain, nonetheless. Welcome. London, UK with an exclamation mark. Lymington in Hampshire. Buckingham, welcome. Great to see you all. Good evening, good evening, good evening. And just as you're joining, if you didn't hear the first announcement, can I implore you please to place your viewing for this evening onto speaker view as opposed to gallery view, because we want to ensure that you can see clearly the speakers who are speaking to you this evening. We want this to really feel like a presentation for you. Marvelous. So we are now at 7 o'clock. Stratford-upon-Avon, we've still got some sign-ups coming through. Welcome, Lynn. You're most welcome from Stratford-upon-Avon. Great to see you. And I'm going to just ask us to do a little bit of housekeeping before we set off into the evening. We'll be together this evening for around about an hour and a half. And Edinburgh, welcome, David from Edinburgh. Thank you for joining us. You're most welcome. And what I'd like to do is just address some housekeeping bits and pieces before we set off into the evening. I'm Sharon Amesu, your host for the evening. I'll tell you a little bit more about me shortly. But alongside the speaker view, can I ask all of us, and I can see that we're doing that for the most part, which is wonderful. And I'm sure it's because we're now all familiar with the world of Zoom. So can I ask us all just to place ourselves on mute? We're all no doubt having experiences of people having awkward conversations in the background when we're in full flow of a meeting, and we want to avoid that this evening. The other thing that I'd like to inform us of is the meeting is being recorded. This launch is being recorded. We want to hold this memory in perpetuity, and so it is being recorded. We would love to have all of your beautiful faces stay on the screen, but I know that some people don't like to be recorded. If that's you, please feel free to take off your video, stop your video, but we would like to see you, for you to stay on screen. I'd also like to invite you to make use of your Twitter today. Some of us are on Twitter, and I would just love us to take this opportunity to celebrate this event, celebrate this book launch of this incredible book, Influential Woman, and just share this with the world. And so Dion's Twitter handle is at Dion Johnson UK, at Dion Johnson UK. And if you can use that Twitter handle and just hashtag some quotes as we're going through the evening, just share some reflections about the evening, and just bring other people into our world, that would be incredible. And the final thing I think that I'd like to encourage us with is this. Now, I know if you're anything like me, that you'd have had perhaps several Zoom calls today or Teams calls today. And sometimes we can get to an evening and feel I'm completely zoomed out. However, what I'd love to say is this. This is a moment. I don't believe that this is a book launch like any other book launch. I believe that this is a special moment and that you are here for purpose, on purpose, with a real reason. And what I'm inviting you to do just for this hour and a half is to really presence yourself in the room. Presence yourself, because even though it's a virtual room, I really believe that we can connect with each other in a way which is as though we were able to touch hands physically. I believe that we're able to be moved and inspired and motivated and uplifted in a way as if we were in person together. And that can happen when we're fully present in the room. So we may want to just kick the cat out of the door. Perhaps we want to kick the husband or the wife out of the door. And we just want to make ourselves present in the room to hear what's going to be incredible stories and testimonials and experiences through this evening. So thank you very much indeed. Also, again, please feel free to use the chat function. We want to hear your views. We want to hear what you're experiencing of the night. And we really want this to be a coming together of like-minded individuals. And so we start. As I said, I'm Sharon Amesu. I'm a criminal barrister by profession. I was in practice for 16 years, but now run a consultancy that works with leaders and delivers diversity and inclusion initiatives. I also hold several non-exec director roles and the former branch chair for the Institute of Directors. But more salient and relevant for this evening is the fact that I can genuinely say that I am a friend of Dion Johnson, who we are celebrating tonight, who we are recognizing, and whose book we are delving into. Dion for me is not only a friend, I find her as a confidant, and I am her greatest supporter. I am her champion. I'm a cheerleader for her. I'm a follower of hers because she is a woman who is so wise. She's such a sage. And she's so erudite, and I don't just mean scholarly, I mean that she has a deep understanding of the issues of the heart in a way which is second to none. And so it is my greatest privilege and honor to be hosting this event tonight and to be shortly inviting onto our stage the woman of the hour. But before I do, please allow me, please indulge us for a moment as I share a little bit about Dion Johnson. So Dion Johnson, also known as the Womanologist, is an ex-midwife and director in public services, where she pioneered and coordinated and led special services, serving highly vulnerable and marginalized client groups. Dion is a multi-award-winning women's champion with the repowerment of women at the heart of her work. She works behind the global leadership scenes as a master coach, a strategic ally, and trusted advisor to some of the most influential women across sectors and industries. Dion is challenging and changing the inner narrative about what it means to be a credible influencer in today's fast-paced, changing workspace. Her clients are chief executives, directors, and heads across sectors, because when these women truly thrive and not just act as though they're thriving, so do the boards that they sit on and the organizations that they work in and the industries that they work in, and ultimately our world. Dionne was born with a profound facial disfigurement, and her story of unmasking is a powerful metaphor that is now captivating and inspiring leaders across the globe, inspiring them to show up, speak up, and shake things the hell up authentically within their space of influence too. Dionne is passionate about and uniquely skilled to help women rise above professional challenges and be more influential in their roles. And tonight, we are focusing on her new book, Influential Woman, which is indeed a fresh approach to tackling inequality and leading change at work. The work has already received positive reviews from readers around the world, and it is indeed my deepest honor and privilege to invite Dionne to our virtual stage today. Can we just give her a virtual high five, hands up, round of applause, wherever you are. Dionne, you can use the chat, you can celebrate her, you can lift her up. Dionne, we are so proud of you.
Oh my goodness gracious me. Let me just take a minute. I am so excited.
Yes.
I'm seeing more of your names. I want to say hello to you all personally, but I'll get in trouble if I start doing that. Thank you so much for being here tonight. It's amazing to have you all joining. Sorry we couldn't be joining in person, but maybe some of you wouldn't have been here if we'd have got to meet in person. So this is great. Hi, Joan.
Listen, Dionne, it is just our joy to be here celebrating you. And I, without doubt, that every single person who is here today is in some way connected to you, either directly or indirectly, and has been impacted by your life and your work. And so we are here celebrating you and wanting to hear more of your story. And so let's begin. Can I just give everyone one request, please? This is a night of celebration. And so I'm going to ask us all at some point, some convenient point, to reach across to the to our closest libation and to grab a glass, because toward the end of the evening, we will be raising our glasses in toast and recognition to our dear friend Dionne, but not for the moment. My tipple will have to wait. I must be fully cogent for the evening. So Dionne, let's start. And what we'll be having, of course, we know is we'll be having testimonials and stories and videos and so on shared, but also we'll be coming back to you back and forth and just hearing more about the story and the journey of producing this work and gifting your voice to the world. I'd like to start with this, if I may. The word womanologist and the term strategic ally. Now, if there's one thing that I know of you, that you are very purposeful in the language that you use. You're not fanciful, you don't use semantics lightly. You think very carefully about what you say. Can you tell us more about what those words actually mean, womanologist and strategic ally?
Yes, my pleasure. Again, thanks to everybody for being here. I can see the names flicking past my screen, and I know that there are some people that have been my clients like recently and over the years, so welcome to you. And actually, in answer to that question, I can tell you that really the women that I work with gave me that name. It really came out of a conversation that I was having repeatedly over and over again. And women that I work with, CEOs, directors, heads, strategic leads in organizations, would constantly tell me that they come because they've got beef at work, they're you know, their workload or their boss or some kind of conflict or some kind of appraisal situation. And what really happened in our time together was, and they all describe in their own way, that their inner woman, somehow, that's what really got touched. That's what really got healed. That's what really got, you know, that's where the work really directed their focus to who they were as women, what their womanity was ailing. And so it just, after hearing it over and over again, it became, you know, first of all, I thought woman doctor, you know, a lot of people know that my background is midwifery. So I spent a lot of time working alongside women who were going through perhaps the most womanly deed of all, having a baby. And so it all kind of culminated into a big pot of, you know, healing for womanity. And so Womanologist came about. Strategic ally came out of, well, my idea of an ally is a champion, somebody who will stand with you, think through with you, and see the bigger picture with you, and be strategic with you, and hold hands with you. And that's the nature of my work. It's been all of my work life. I tend to gravitate towards women. I like to say the women that I work with were born to change the world, and I was born to support them. You know, it's just my place. It's my happy place. It's the place where, alongside women, is where I do my best work. Alongside women who are going through challenging processes is where I bloom and blossom. So, Womanologist, serving womanity as a strategic ally.
Beautiful. And I can say from personal experience that that has been what I have witnessed of your approach to engaging with women, Dion. It's so powerful. And we get to this point, don't we, where you have, in the fullness of time, birthed a book that you're giving. It's incredible, absolutely wonderful. Tell us, what inspired you to write this book?
You know, if I'm really honest, the idea came, first of all, years and years ago. I was working with coach after coach, and they would say, you should write a book. You should write a book. It really started off, I'd love to tell you that it was this grand calling to begin with, but actually I thought about it as a status building exercise, as a business building strategy. My coaches told me, you know, everyone who writes, you know, bang one out, they told me, bang out a book, and, you know, put a cover on it, and you'll be an author, and that will get you invited to go here and invited to go there. So first of all, it was a complete strategic move. And so as I put myself to doing this work, I realized that it's not as easy as it sounded first off. It wasn't as easy as just banging a book out. It was challenging me on all kinds of different levels. And so I heard about Hay House's a workshop that Hay House was running, and I decided that I would apply to go there. They were running a program called Diverse Wisdom, and I thought I'd just apply. It just all seemed to be going through the turmoil of writing the book. It just seemed like a good place to hang out. And then the rest, as they say, is history, because I actually won a contract to write the book with Hay House through the Diverse Wisdom program, and then I really had to write the book.
Incredible. You are a published author with global publishers Hay House, and we do in fact have the managing director for the UK of Hay House UK, right here on the call. So can I invite Michelle Pilley to come and join us, please, on this virtual stage, and tell us more about this Diverse Wisdom program, and also what drew you into Dion's proposal, what drew you to her story. So Michelle, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Can you tell us more, first of all, about the Diverse Wisdom program? What is it that caused you to want to unveil and uncover different voices?
Thank you, Sharon. Lovely welcome. What a fantastic host you are. You do an amazing job. It's so difficult not being in person. We'd love, I'm sure, all to be there hugging Dion. And so it's wonderful that to be able to do it this way. So the Diverse Wisdom Program, as you mentioned and Dion mentioned, is very much a feeling from us at Hay House that we needed to create a program that helped elevate Black BIPOC voices to come forward. We were publishing authors, but not enough, not getting enough proposals and materials from BAME and BIPOC voices. And so it felt really important to do this because I think it was so vital if we are going to end racism, if we were actually going to stand strongly, to allow people to speak about their experiences and speak about their challenges. And for us, as people know, with probably Hay House is a huge international platform. And we really wanted to take advantage of that and get the chance to get people's voice out into the world. So that birthed it. I would want to say we were inspired by an author called Jessica Huey, who we were working with, and Jessica is a great advocate for diversity. She has an MBA for the work that she's done on diversity. She founded Colorblind Cards, and working with her, she said, I'm sure Hay House could do more. So she really inspired us, and we brainstormed and we came up with the program. And so the program operates, we ask people to apply for it. They send proposals, and we go through very carefully through the proposals, and we think who would really benefit from the program, who do we think can help. We then assign everyone in the program a mentor so that they have, you know, and Dion's, sadly, Dr. David Hamilton, who was Dion's mentor, can't be here tonight. I know, but I know he's sending his love and great wishes to Dion. But,
he has recorded a video.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. And so we assigned Dion and the other DW people to the program. And they go through a period of about 6 months of writing and working. And as Dion says, and we had this conversation at one point, writing isn't that easy. And birthing a book, as she said, is just as hard, potentially, as birthing a child. I don't know that from personal experience of the child, but I know that from listening to many authors who would say that. But when we looked at the submissions of all of those diverse wisdom applicants, I think we'd been very aware of Dion in the program. We'd been aware of her grace, her poise, her incredible insightfulness, and her written proposal was fantastic. And I think we were absolutely clear and unanimous in all our discussions that Dion should have the Diverse Wisdom Award and be offered a contract with us. You know, we're fantastically proud that she is our first Diverse Wisdom published author. I know another one who's coming through from the same program. Bharti Dias is on this course, so lovely to see Bharti being here. But yeah, why I think from us just, and I just love to speak about really about Dion's incredible courage, incredible strength in being able to stand up, as we're saying, she's very aware in the standing as a Black woman, as a woman who had disfigurement, and also as a Christian in a secular world. And it's very important that she's had that confidence and courage to put these ideas out there in an incredibly clear, strong way. And I think we all knew of her authenticity and integrity as we've worked with her. Towards the end of the process, it was particularly struck because when Dion was writing the book, she knew she was writing a book that was going to challenge racism. She knew that she was going to challenge physical kind of prejudice against physical disfigurement and sexism as well. And she really, really going to aim it for women, powerful women who would hear that voice. Yes. But when she set out, she didn't know she was going to write a book as a Christian. And obviously, she's a very strong Christian and it's a very important part of her life. But she realized during the writing process that to not speak as a Christian was in some way denying who she was. And, you know, almost at the 11th hour, when we saw, I sat with Bharti because I was concerned because there's this tremendous amount of prejudice in the media around the Christian voice right now, and especially in the kind of business arena and in quite a few media chains. And we said to Bharti, there's a strong chance that we won't be able to get you all the media opportunities that we might be able to, and open all the doors for you that we might like to open you if there's a strong Christian perspective. It's very different in the US, but this is true of the UK. Bharti sat with that for a while. but was very clear that she would be denying her authenticity and suppressing part of herself if that she didn't step forward as a Christian and put this book out with everything that she needed to say. And I can only just say her courage, her strength, you know, in awe of that decision. And we said to her, there's no question, we'll put the book out in the form that you believe to be. We want to publish your voice, your words as you would like them to be. And so we're incredibly proud and very, very honored to have this book. And I'm hopefully here physically and to actually see it come into birth and come into being. And we thank Bharti for coming here and supporting Deal, but we think for Deal to being able to step into her power and become this ambassador, you know, in the world and throughout the Hay House platform. So we wish her every success. We're absolutely determined to do everything we can to help and support her. So thank you, you know, to everyone. So thank you, Dion. So
much,
thank you, Sharon,
thank you for sharing the story. Thank you for partnering with Dion to bring this to us. And thank you to Hay House for engaging in this journey in this way.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And would you be open for joining us for the Q&A session towards the end of the evening?
Absolutely, Sharon. Yeah. So Bharti's correcting me on the line. I
very
nearly
much.
said Bharti's name, not Anisa, instead of Dion there. So absolutely. Excuse me.
No
That's
worries.
my nervousness. But I'm very happy to answer questions.
No, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. We'll see you later then. So Dee,
Thank
can
you.
we come back to you, please?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So as Michelle has referenced, the writing process itself can for so many people be innately challenging. We often hear of authors talking about their processes. For some, Stephen King, I believe, has said that it's incredibly difficult to start. Once he gets the process, he's all right. For others, it's painful through as you were writing this book. Give us an insight into your work.
You know, when I think about it, I think that I started wanting to write a book before I realized just what I wanted to say. So it was the actual process of writing the book that allowed me to be open to receiving the message. So I was so shocked at the weight of the message that wanted to come through. I wasn't sure that I had what it took to write it. I was muddled a lot. So there was a lot of having to pull, you know, like literally splitting hairs so that you could, so that I could understand one thought and then another and trying to arrange them in a logical order so that the reader could understand. That for me was really challenging. I'm a conversationalist at heart, and when I work with my clients, we sit down and they lead me. So I say, how are you? And depending on what they say, that's how the conversation goes. But writing a book, I found that was different, and it was scary trying to anticipate where every reader was going to be when they picked the book up and how to respond to them when we weren't together. I found it to be altogether hugely challenging. I liken it to childbirth. I wasn't backwards in coming forwards in the book about how challenging the whole process was for me. But you know, the game-changing thing is support. And I really need to tell you about the people that I had with me right from the beginning, like years before the Hay House diversity, years before when the idea was becoming heavy and that I was impregnated and carrying this thing without really understanding what it was. That I need to tell you about a woman called Denise Roberts, who honestly, she's the CEO of the Editor's Chair, and she was my friend and my coach, my book coach, and she's a journalist and a wordsmith, and she was so patient with me over those years. I think Denise and I have written maybe 3 books, you know, or we've written several books before we got to before it turned into this one with Hay House. So yeah, it's really about support. And then once I got into the Diverse Wisdom program, David Hamilton, you know, like my gentle butt kicker, you know, just people who are in your corner allow you to ramble, allow you to clear your thoughts, and split thoughts, split thoughts that are so similar but have different things to say. Like that all has to be worked out in the writing journey. And I found it really, I could not have done it without the support.
That's incredible. So what's amazing is that, as Michelle was saying, whilst certainly David is not able to attend this evening, he has pre-recorded a message, and we're going to be hearing that very soon. In fact, and that's going to be teed up by Robert, who is working behind the scenes so ably. We thank you so much, Robert, for keeping all of the wheels turning in the background. It's always the people in the back room that people don't actually know about. They're doing all of the hard stuff. So thanks so much, Robert, that you're going to be teeing that up for us. But they say it takes a village to raise a child. And so too the book. The support has been invaluable for you. So we're going to play the clip from both David and Denise. Thanks, Robert.
I can't hear it.
I think the audio isn't quite working.
Diverse Wisdom programme, and I remember we were almost on deadline to get the submissions for the competition, and Dion revealed that she wasn't going to submit her book proposal, and we were like 90% there. It was like literally later that day it was to get in. So we spoke on the phone, and I Dion calls, says that I gave her a compassionate kick up the ass. I don't think of it in that way at all. I just reminded her that she's very insightful and got so much wisdom, so much to give. Because I'd read the proposal as it stood in the sample chapters, and I thought it was exceptional. And so, I was just reminding her that, a lot of people can benefit from this. And she had so much going on in her life at the time. I remember we were on the phone and just going through. So all you need is 3 sample chapters, and you just need to tweak your synopsis, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, cut a long story short, she got it in. It's an exceptional proposal and won the competition. So I really love the book. And, and Dion she's a really good person and very insightful and wise. And I think that comes across in the pages of the book. Because I think what you'll get from it, certainly what I found, is it really helps you to embrace your individuality and tap into your authentic self. And I suppose it might help you to become the leader that you know in your heart that you can be.
The journey of working with Dion Johnson on Influential Woman has been a great privilege for me, a great honor for me. I'm so proud of Dion, that she has brought forth this wonderful book. I know every nook and cranny in this this message. Having worked with her over the past 3 years to form it, to get out of her belly what was so deeply embedded into it. And I have to say that she uses much of the the analogy of the pressure of the womb, of the pushing in her book. But Dion herself has had to push this book out. It's been such a pressure that she has felt in her belly, and she has agonized over getting this message right over the course of that time. There's been such a great investment of time and tears and energy into bringing this message out. And that's what this whole journey has been about for me and for Dion. And there's been times when she's felt that she's nailed it. She's always known what she wanted to bring out in her belly. She's always known when the message wasn't quite right. And she's always known when there's been more, it's not quite it. Dion's been so committed to making sure that she brings it out exactly as she knows, as she sees, as she feels inside herself. And that's been, such a privilege. It's been a wonderful privilege, really. Tough work. It's been tough work, but it's also been such a pleasure to watch this message unfold in the beauty that it is today. Even as one that has worked with Dion over the period of time that she's been writing this book, I, for one, when I've picked it up in its state today and read it, have been blessed by it. It's a book that feels like a friend, like a me time, a book that feels like it's speaking very, very deeply into your soul, into your spirit. And the reason for that is because it really does come from a deep place inside Dion. Yeah, there's been the planning, there's been the mapping out the idea chapter by chapter, there's been the discussing things, is it quite right, what am I really trying to say? There's been the editing process, there's been the refinement to get it to the condition that it is, the form that it is today. And I believe that every woman taking the time out to read this book will know that it is worth it. She'll find herself in these pages and be able to really, stand up, as Dion says, turn up, really, really turn up as you really want to turn up in this world.
Thank you so, so much. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Well, what was clear to me is that when I had the deep honor of reading this book, it was clear to me, abundantly clear, that this was no McDonald's, this was no Burger King. This was slow cooked food. This was Guinness punch. This was strong Saturday soup for the soul.
Yeah.
And that came about because of all of the rich input from those people who were mentors with you in the journey.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear from both David and Denise about their involvement and how they tarried with you on this journey, Dion.
Yeah.
One thing I know for sure about you, Dion, is that you are purposeful in what you do. You are very directed and you are very focused. And it's abundantly clear for those who haven't yet read the book, what is clear in the book is Dion is writing to a particular woman in a particular place. And I'd love for you to share with us, Dee, who are you speaking to? Who are you directing this book to?
So you're going to hear a bit about from some of the women that I work with. I believe that I've just got the best job in the world, that womanology and womanity aren't fads or trends for me, like they are my calling. I'm called to support women through challenging processes. So I've gotten to be alongside hundreds, thousands of women. If I think about from midwifery days going right the way through to my work right now with my senior leaders, that being alongside these women, I really have gotten to understand who women are. And I became really, really determined to write a book that spoke to their heart in a way that other leadership books perhaps just skim over. This book is for real women with real stories, women that have woken up to the idea that they have something to offer the marketplace leadership scene. And we've been through so much, haven't we, as we've pressed and climbed and woken up to that and accepted the call to be in high level leadership. It's not an easy walk in the park. We're new kids on the block. We haven't been there for we weren't there in the beginning. And if you think about it, just 50 years ago, women didn't feature in senior leadership. And now here we are. So these women, the women that I wrote to in the book, they have woken up to this call to lead the way for women into high level leadership. They have high level positions and they love leadership and they love their work and they care about outcomes. But on the other hand, the environment that we work in can be hostile sometimes. And so women, these same brilliant women, find themselves under extreme pressure, find themselves in power struggles, in conflict, find themselves, second guessing, wondering if they're the woman for the job, pressure from within, negative self-talk. That we're dealing with a lot. On the face of it, we're doing really well and climbing. But nobody really talks about what we're going through behind the scenes. And I wanted to do that. I wanted to talk about the realities and the pressures and the struggles and the isms and the schisms and the politics that we are battling and carrying and dealing with as we lead. So it's really for women who lead in these circumstances.
It's amazing, Dee. And what's wonderful is that we're going to hear today from some of those women who've been impacted by your mentoring, your coaching, and your support. And so again, Robert will be assisting us with that behind the scenes and playing a couple of clips from your clients sharing their experiences of working with you. Thanks very much, Robert.
Hi, my name's Ashley, and I met Dion about a year ago at an event that she was speaking at. And her energy was so welcoming and powerful that I knew that I needed to work with her somehow. She's been such a key voice through so many transitions in my life and career, and I'm so grateful to her for that. When she told me that she was writing a book, I was really glad because I knew that it meant that so many other women would be able to benefit from her wisdom and encouragement to approach their careers and lives through a really authentic and loving lens. Dion has this unique talent when it comes to helping people connect with the people that they are becoming and to show up as that person in their interactions every day. Influential Woman is full of real stories and advice for real women, and I recommend it with a full heart to all women seeking to take control of their influence in impacting the world.
Dion is brilliant. She changed the game for me. I'm very excited to read her book, and I encourage everyone to read it, as her message brings power, and I wouldn't have much courage to push forward without Dion. Dion is the real deal.
I first met Dion at a diversity and inclusion event, and it was like no other D&I event I'd ever attended. What she said and how she said it and the stories that she told resonated with me so much that I asked her to come for coffee with me the week after. And within 20 minutes of sitting down, she had held this mirror up to me and had asked me such challenging questions, and I didn't have the answers. And I knew that Dion was the person that I wanted to find out what the answers were with her. So I just want to say that probably the one thing that I've really taken from her is to enter all of my business meetings with the knowledge that I am Maria, a COO, and this is a business meeting. And if we have a disagreement, then it's not with me, it's with my ideas or the points that I'm trying to get across. So really to take that emotional side out of it, and it's helped me so much. So Dion, thank you for everything. A huge congratulations on your book. I've ordered it, I can't wait to read it. And I really can't wait to meet up soon, face to face, and give you a huge hug and congratulate you. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Cecile Watson, a Barbadian who lives in Jamaica, and I'm a data protection entrepreneur and founder of Ladies Speaking, which is an online forum that hosts empowering conversations with influential women of the Caribbean. Just on November 8th, Dion Johnson was our very first Sister in Spotlight to launch our monthly meetups. Can I tell you that our numbers have been growing ever since? I met Dion sometime back in 2013 online. Since then, we have become fast friends. But it all started when she reached out to me as a response to what she considered was my busyness. She directly asked, "How can I help you?" With that, she started coaching me. I was so profoundly impacted by her style, by her passion, by her interventions, that I subsequently contracted her to coach a few of my women entrepreneur clients. In all cases, Dion has managed to transform our thinking and our confidence in who we are. We all love her, and we just think she's fabulous. The book, Influential Woman, is a perfect piece of work to have been birthed through Dion, because that's who she is. That's who you are, my friend. That's who you serve. We are indeed influential women. And we wish you the very best with your launch today, because the world needs more influential women. Bye.
Gosh. Whew.
Goodness me. So, a huge thank you to Ashley, Maria, Cecile, and Nalja, who have all shared of their experiences of you, the womanologist, the strategic ally in their lives. Can I say that as I read the book, I recognized, the lawyer in me recognized that there was a full-throated, unequivocal calling out of the issues of injustice and inequality. And I'm just interested, and I'm sure many of us will be interested in why that forms a central theme and a thread throughout the book. Can you tell us more about that, please, Dee?
Yeah, so honestly, it was a surprise to me too. I really had no clue at the beginning of this writing journey that I would be writing a book that had anything to do with inequality. And you know, we've spoken a bit about the wrestling of ideas, trying to discern the ideas that were really needing to be expressed in the book. And it was a surprise to me when inequality just kept presenting itself, racism just kept presenting itself, you know, sexism, all the isms, but, you know, all rooted in inequality just kept presenting themselves. And you know, to be honest with you, I was really intimidated by that to begin with. I didn't feel qualified to write about that. I'm not an academic, I'm not a social scientist, but the more I would press into the message, the more I would see that at the end of this day, when women read the book, I'm not interested in helping women just to you know, have an easier life or to like work better. All that's great, but I began to become very clear that the marketplace was a real driver for inequality. So wherever it is that you work, whether business and enterprise, or you know, religion, or whether you work in family welfare or education or science and technology or the media or the arts and leisure, whatever domain you work in, whatever domain we work in and my clients worked in, what I realized was there was the system within those structures were feeding inequality, and that these women were really prime positioned, just like Michelle is describing. You know, she's a senior woman in publishing, and she was prime positioned to say, hold on a minute, there are people that we're not serving. There are people that are not doing well through our industry or through our organization, and we need to do something about this. And so it became really powerful for me. It became a real driver. Inequality kept vying for a central thematic position in the book. And when I decided to let it happen, really everything changed. I started to read more about inequality, started to look at how the marketplace in particular was feeding it, you know, from all white panels, expert panels in conferences, to recruitment practices, to you know, exclude, you know, unequal outcomes for schooling and education, to the judicial system. I begin to see that the marketplace is just this real feeding trough for unequal outcomes, and that these women were positioned to bring a new type of approach to tackling it. And then I got invited to go to New York in 2019 for the United Nations SDG goals. I got invited to go and attend a meeting there, and that's when I met so many brilliant people who started to school me on the whole world of inequality. And that's where I met Paul, actually. O'Brien.
And
yeah,
I get goosebumps when I hear you talk about your experiences and what's driven you to this point. And it's incredible, Dee, because it's almost like attracts like, that we're drawn in to people who are like-minded, who share our common goals and our sense of what's right and what's wrong in the world. And Paul is one of those people, and he has in fact pre-recorded a video for this evening for all of our guests to hear more about why he was drawn to you and why he was drawn to the work that you have brought to the world. And so Robert again will be assisting us, ladies and gentlemen, and playing the recording of Robert's thoughts. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Paul O'Brien. I'm Vice President for Policy in Oxfam America, and I oversee the Oxfam family's coronavirus advocacy response. Why am I in awe of Dionne Johnson and Influential Woman? Because she sort of cracks the nut on inequality. She finds a way in her book, and every time I've seen her speak, to talk about inequality, both as something that can only be addressed if women tap into their own power and are willing to talk about taking power from others, but do it in a way that others will actually hear and listen to. And as a fairly privileged white man, I have found myself enraptured by the idea that our world is going to be better when influential women actually redistribute some of the power that folks like me have held quite comfortably. I think it's what's needed for our world. I think it's going to make everything more interesting in the years to come as we have these conversations, and it needs women like Dionne who are willing to be patient enough, even though they may feel grounded in one community of activists, to spend time talking to the very folks who have been the beneficiaries of a highly unequal world. In the end, I've written a lot about, just written a book about why inequality is fundamentally about power. And the solution to it is about power redistribution. It's going to take folks on both sides of the line to engage with each other in different ways. And I think a pretty good start to doing that is by reading Influential Woman. Thanks for hearing me, and look forward to talking more about her book.
Thank you so much. And I understand that, Paul, you're actually here this evening, and it'd be great to hear from you in person. So Paul, as I understand it, you have yourself just published a book. That book is called Power Switch. And in your book, you focus on the redistribution of wealth as a remedy for addressing inequalities in society. Paul, can I ask you, please, in what ways do you feel that Dionne's book helped to support that discourse and that narrative around addressing inequalities and the redistribution of power? Can you share your thoughts with us this evening? That'd be great. Thank you. Paul, are you there? There we are. Mark,
I am.
Thank you very much.
And thanks, Sharon. You're remarkable in your own role, and it's so fun to be able to celebrate Dionne's work and person with all of you. I'm not sure I have the deepest answer to this, but I will say this: having just gone through almost a little bit on the same timeline, the effort to write a book about inequality, it gives me a deeper appreciation for Dionne, because I think I went through every single possible way to shut down a good conversation with the people I was trying to take power from as I did my own research. And yet I watched Dionne in rooms and with me and with others, and people wanted to engage her more, even as she was offering a pathway to perhaps change the level of entitlement they had, and or just unexamined power that they had, to use my own words. As Dionne said earlier on, I first saw her in New York in the center of this sort of elite struggle to come to terms with the fact that there was this machinery that continued to privilege one group or set of groups at the expense of others. And yet she brings this grace and humor, and even in the book itself, this self-awareness and humility that makes you just want to hear the next sentence and read the next sentence and go on the journey. That's really hard to do with inequality, because there are certain things in the world which, when you dig into them, you realize the only way they can work is if there are losers as well as winners. That is an implicit reality of a certain kind of inequality. And yet getting people who will inevitably lose to listen to someone takes but that particular grace that she has. So I've been pushing out Influential Woman, not just to women, by the way. I think it's probably great for women, but it's also great for those of us who need to understand who don't define as women our own role in the equality equation. So it's just amazingly powerful for its depth, and I feel lucky to be here. I did warn her that in the one time I get to do an important meeting this whole few weeks, happens to be at 3 o'clock today, I'm going to try and convince the Biden folks that they are not doing enough on inequality. So I'm going to have to run for that, and it's my one chance. But I loved hearing the testimonies over the last hour.
Thank you so much for joining us, Paul. It's been delightful meeting you. And thank you for sharing your testimonial with us this evening. Thank you very much again. So Dee, can we come back to you, please? Thank you, Paul. Can we come back to you, please? Because one thing that I know for sure is that you, as a strategic ally, have your own sense of strategy and your own sense of vision and what you want to see as a result of bringing this work to the world. So tell us, please, what is your vision for women in senior leadership?
So it's really, I get goosebumps even at the thought of the question, because we have such a great opportunity. I told you about how inequality was really vying for a central thematic position in the book, and I had no idea why. And then I finished writing the book in January, and COVID hit in March. And now inequality is on everybody's lips. Now everyone's talking about racism. Now everyone's talking about equality and how to accomplish it. So there's this real open door. There's this real opportunity for us to finally begin to shift the needle on some of these unequal, unfair, exclusive outcomes that we see generated in the marketplace. And I believe that women are key players for that. But like I said earlier, with all the will in the world, women are under incredible pressure. And women have come into the marketplace with a history of, we're carrying a lot from our history, baggage, things that we really need to resolve, to come to peace with, things that we need to heal from, things that we need to move away from, move on from. And so this is really the aim of the book. The book really is speaking to our getting ready to go through this open door that's opened up for us to really begin to influence the systems that we are part of and that we lead. So in the book, 3 really strong themes come up around what we as women need to do in order to prepare to really seize the day that we are privy to right now. And that is one, we need to heal. Women really need to heal from the history of womanity. We've been sold as chattel, we've been burned at the stake, we've been sold into slavery, we've been trafficked, we've been raped, we've been pillaged. Historically, women have been through a lot. And I think it's naive to think that if we don't address them individually and collectively, that they just can somehow vanish away and not have any impact on the way that we function as leaders. So in the book, I make a strong suggestion that we need to heal. And then I think we need to handle our heads. So our lives are busy, our lives are noisy. There's a whole lot going on inside and outside. And sometimes it can be hard to hear the wood, see the wood for the trees, or hear ourselves think. And I know from my own personal journey that in our heads sometimes are BFDLs, big fat dirty lies about who we are and what we're capable of and our right to be in senior leadership. So there's real, I want the book for women to get their heads straight, think through what is true. And the book really does present a way for us to do that. And then the third thing that we have to do for women, the third thing that I really want for us as women, is for us to develop our hook. That thing that we're going to grab the attention of the people that we want to influence, the thing that we're going to use to grab the attention of the people that we work with and hold that attention so that we can share our ideas and our insights, that we as women who are to challenge inequality in our own domain, that we need to think about what that message is, what that strategy is, what that vision is. And so our heads, our hearts, healing our hearts, and developing our hooks, I think we do that through developing habits, the 7 habits that I lay out in the book.
And one thing is for sure that we see from the way in which you write and the understanding that you have of women and our experiences in the marketplace is that this is very much for us like a David and Goliath situation, right? That we come, and for many of us, as you've said, for many of us, we're new to the marketplace. So we bring with us the labored layers of imposter syndrome. Who am I? Am I entitled to be in this space? This Goliath is a monolith to us. It's overwhelming and intimidating. What is it that you feel you are saying right now to women who are experiencing that as they're heading and facing toward their Goliath?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a powerful question, because it really is the truth that so many women don't feel like they can take on this lofty thing called inequality, you know, be starting to call things out or to whistleblow or to call attention to things that aren't working properly, because let's face it, we're at our bandwidth. So we're spinning a lot of plates, you know, we've got a lot going on. We're dealing with home, we're still the main caregivers, we're still the main cook and cleaner and bottle washers at home. And then we have all this stuff going on at work. Oftentimes women say to me, no, I care, I want to see things better, I know that there is injustice, I know that there's unfairness, and I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel I've got any bandwidth, I don't feel like I've got what it takes, or, you know, who am I to make that kind of change, to be that, you know, the system doesn't want to change, so therefore who am I to do this? But, you know, for those women, I say it over and over, that I really believe that anyone that's ever done anything significant in our history, in the history of man, has felt that way. Anyone that's done anything, anyone that's changed the world somehow, fundamentally changed some kind of system, or challenged the way that things are, or challenged the zeitgeist, or you know, bring new insight that radically transforms the way that we do things, feels that way. I remember watching a film, it's Martin Luther King film, I can't remember which version, but you know, Martin Luther King, in one of the scenes, he's saying to his wife, you know, darling, you know, I'm gonna take you, we're gonna build a little house in the country, we're gonna raise us some chickens, you know, we're gonna manage our little congregation, and we're gonna live a happy life, you know? And that was Martin Luther King. He had no idea that we'd still be talking about him all of these decades later. Like, he had no idea that shift is going to take place through his leadership. So I really want women to be a bit more ambitious about what could be possible through them. We've all heard those stories about you know, the woman who watched her baby run over by a truck, and she dropped her dishcloth and ran out of the house and lifted the truck off the baby. You know, well, I say to my clients all the time, imagine if that woman had sort of had a meeting to ask herself whether she thinks it's possible to lift that truck. You know, I wonder if that woman, you know, had stopped and said to her, you know, but I haven't worked out for 10 years. How am I going to do that? You know, I believe that the door is open. And if we posture ourselves as women to develop these habits and to get ready as influencers, then I believe that truck and child situation will come up and we'll step through without even thinking about it. I believe that I'm expecting miracle influence for those people that read the book. I'm for those people that really say, you know what, I care about inequality. I want to be in the number that does this slaying of Goliath. And I don't know how. I haven't got all my ducks in the row. I don't have all the answers. I don't know where the room's going to come from. I'm spinning all these plates. I don't feel like I've got any space. Yet, if you care about it, that's your clue that you're qualified. That's your clue that you're called, if you feel like it, because nobody feels like they're going to change the world, but they identify and they acknowledge the desire to, and then they begin to work on growing themselves, work on growing themselves, work on growing themselves. They prepare, and then suddenly the truck of the child situation comes up, they walk through, and then other forces start moving to bring the power of their influence to birth. So I say, none of us feel like it. None of us, you know, people say to me all the time, Dion, you look like, you know, you've got all your ducks in a row. I can't tell you how many times people have said that. You know, Dion, you're so confident. Dion, you're so, like you're a different breed of influencer. No. No. The people in my inner circle will tell you definitely no. But I have a desire to, and I prayed the prayer. You know, if you're going to use anyone, use me. Use me. Get me ready. I don't know how. I don't know what that will look like. But I want to be in the number. So.
I feel operatic right now. I feel as though breath has been flooding my lungs. You breathe air into our lungs, Dee. And for anyone who's out there watching, any of you ladies and gentlemen, right now, if you don't have a copy of this book, you can head over to thewomanologist.com and order your copy. Because what you'll capture is the essence of Dion, and you'll capture something of her spirit. And it's enabling, it's empowering, it's inspiring, and you'll have Dion in your pocket. I saw someone earlier on in the chat say, everyone needs a Dion in your life. Well, you'll be able to have one if you purchase the book. So go ahead, buy one and share it with your friends. Buy one for your friends as well. Because Dee, in fact, what we know is that there have been people who have read your book and have been so inspired by what you've shared, and you've got positive reviews already from incredible women who've read your stories. And so Robert, again, will be assisting us this evening, and he'll be sharing the pre-recorded videos of people who've been impacted by your work. Thank you again, Robert.
So I want to tell you about the best book I've read so far this year. It's a must-have new bestseller, written with emotional intelligence by the talented new author and womanologist, Dion Johnson. Influential Woman is mesmerizing from the beginning to the end. Dion has not only coined a new phrase, but captured the true essence of womanity in her writing. It's definitely a toolkit for life, whether you're looking for rest, work, or play. Once you pick up Influential Woman, you won't want to put it down. And even if you do put it down, you're going to have to pick it up and go back to it time and time again, just to recapture and reignite some of the most intelligent reading tips and tricks that I've had for some time. Influential is one of these books that I would highly recommend to my younger self, particularly before I set out on my journey for life or my career journey. It's a must read. In fact, Influential Woman should be in every single school library. And this is not just for women, it's also for boys, so that everybody could learn their true position in society. I also recommend you buy 2 copies of Influential Woman, one for yourself and one for someone you care about immensely. Well done, Dion Johnson. You're a true womanologist.
Hello, I'm Mim Senft, CEO and co-founder of Global Women for Wellbeing. It is my deep pleasure to endorse Dion Johnson's new book, Influential Woman. Dion is part of the GW4W family, an amazing executive coach to female leaders, and brings such wisdom to this discussion about how we effectively close the gender equity leadership gap and how we can help more women from all backgrounds become the leaders they are meant to be. Congratulations, Dion. Well done. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for being a woman who is making positive change happen in the world for yourself and for others.
Hi, dear Dion. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I'm so delighted to be one of the first people to read your amazing book. You know, we've never needed womanity more than now. And thank you, Dion, for bringing it to us. Your book clearly outlines not just the why, but the how to do it, to be the woman we all want to be. And your book is a clarion call to all women leaders to rise up into their power, not for domination, but for the good of all. Your voice is wise, your voice is womanly, and your voice is wholesome. The book is like breathing in fresh air and feeling enlivened by the experience. For any woman who's keeping themselves small or lost herself in the corporate world, or feels like she is finally ready to make an impact, this book is for you. I challenge you to read it and not experience a deep fire in the pit of your stomach that cannot help but be ignited and acted upon as a result. This book will change everyone's life for the better, and more than that, will change the world for the better. Congratulations, Dion. This book is amazing, just like you. Take care.
Woohoo! Dion, new book coming out. I am so excited. Dion is brilliant. She is kind, she's caring, she's compassionate, she speaks the genuine truth. She works with senior leadership women, and I'm telling you, her skills and knowledge really make a difference. She really can connect with people, and I'm telling you, you cannot miss this book. I highly recommend it, and you will get so many different ideas on what to do to be the best female leader you can be. Congratulations to Dion. I wish you all the best, and please, please grab your copy.
That's just wonderful. We have heard endorsements this evening from eminent women around the world who've already been touched and impacted by your work, Dee. And what I'm going to be doing very shortly is opening up the floor for people in our audience today to ask some questions of you, Dee. So ladies and gentlemen, can I now invite you to ready yourself to do so? And as you're readying and preparing yourself, we'll probably have maybe 5 or 10 minutes for questions. Dee, I've got a question for you just to allow people to get prepared, as it were. One of the things that struck me immediately about the book, and I found so powerful, was your immediate unmasking. It's your opening gambit in the book. And you literally say, okay, before we go any further, you need to know something about me. This is who I am. Yeah. And you're fully open about all of yourself. This is who you are. You're authentic. You're a Black woman, you say, in a white man's world. You're a Christian in a non-religious world. You talk about beauty and your disfigurement, your facial disfigurement. You're fully throated in this, and you say, here I am. How important do you feel it is for us to be fully authentic in taking on the challenges of tackling inequality in our society?
It's a really powerful question. You know, the system that governs the way that marketplaces run was built on a foundational philosophy that some people are superior and other people are inferior. It's stacked that way. And we can see the the cries, we can see the challenges that come out of treating people like this. It's really time to change. But in order for the system to change the way that it functions, it's going to take a new kind of influence. It's going to take a new kind of approach. The old system is all about what we sometimes call it professional. It's all about masking up, putting on your power suit. It's all about acting like white men, to be honest, like white professional men. Blending into that word, masculine behavior. It's all about, you know, targets and goals and pushing and logic and linear and more and faster and bigger. This is the way that the marketplace has been set up. And it's time for it to change. We all agree. I'm not even going to ask the question. We all agree it's time for it to move on. And so I'm saying that we need a new approach. And what I've learned is that that new approach is all about integrity and masks off and honesty and showing up for real and having the courage to speak your conviction, even when nobody else is saying that. Or call your people to a new direction, even when nobody's going there, even when everybody's going that way. And you know, it takes something of us to be able to challenge systems in this new way. And it's all about unmasking. When I was writing the book, like Michelle had already started to allude to it, that we had a really strong conversation about whether or not I was going to let some of the things that were most true about me, the fact that I am a woman in a man's world, the fact that I am disfigured in a beauty obsessed world, the fact that I am a Black woman in a white man's world, the fact that I'm a Christian, you know, like one of those happy clappy Christians, you know, there's one of those Jesus people in a world that hates religion and hates, you know, organized, hates the church, right? And I had to make up my mind about whether I was going to put my money where my mouth was when I was writing this book. I had to make up my mind about whether I was going to speak in another voice or pretend that I know what I know, or I am who I am, or I do what I do for some other reason than it being rooted in those things about me. And I couldn't do that with integrity. I can't call women to be more authentic, to speak up when everybody else is shutting up, to stand up when everybody else is sitting down, to show up when everybody else is hiding in the background. I could not, with my hand on my heart, congruently call women to this rising up when I wasn't prepared to. So we had a really strong conversation about whether or not I would lose some book sales. And I prayed a prayer and I said, you know, God, if nobody buys the book and I've written it honestly, then I'm good with that. Because I don't believe that you can ask someone to do what you're not doing as a leader. I don't believe you can ask someone to show up in a way that you're not prepared to show up. And so, yeah, it's really important to me. I believe that we need to take our masks off. It's our distinctness, it's our unusualness, our quirkiness, our against the grainness that we really need right now as we're scratching our heads trying to find new solutions to old problems and new problems that have presented themselves since this pandemic.
So I have just experienced what I always experience with you, Dee, which is you speak and then I need to pause to take in what you've actually just shared, because it's always so compelling, so profound, and so deeply moving. And you speak with such conviction, Dee. It's such a blessing.
Even listening to you say that, you know, like for the work that we have to do as women is all about that. We're all profound. We've all got great ideas. We've all got compelling ideas. But there's this process that we have to go through to be ready to not have anything blocking that, to not have anything holding that in. So when I hear people congratulate me on the power of my speaking, or when I hear people saying, you know, how refreshing or how powerful my messages are, I say we all have powerful messages and we all have something compelling to say. The challenge is get into a place within ourselves and within our organizations, within our realms, where we've done the work, where we've prepared ourselves to be able to bring that. Like, this is not put on. Like, for a long time, I thought that I chatted BS. I had a long time in my head, I'd be going, this is a load of crap. They don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, it takes work to get yourself into a place where you are ready to show up for real. And that's what the book is really essentially calling women to show up for real.
Thank you so much. Thank you for role modeling that for us. Thank you for role modeling that for us and showing us the way and lighting the path. So I'm now going to, you know, I could speak to you all evening and I could just ask you questions all evening, but of course there are other people on this call today, and we want to give them the opportunity to ask some questions of you. So what I'm going to do first of all is have a look in the chat. There are how many comments that have come through. At the moment, I'm not seeing any questions. If you do have a question, can you just tell us in the chat? Just pose your question in the chat. Or well, I don't know if I'll be able to see it because I'm on speaker view. Okay. But in the meantime, just use the chat, please, if you will. And then I will just be reading through some of these comments, Dee, as we've got questions coming through. Just post a question above. Okay, I'll make my way through as quickly as I can. Well, we've got congratulations, Dee, you're an inspiration, a truly inspiring leader. Well done, Dion, so very proud of you. You're such a positive force for a universe that needs you. I owe you so much, says Maria. Go girl, says Caroline Ribeiro Nelson, such a motivational power and great inspiration. I'm excited as you are, says Bobby Larmond. Congratulations, Dion, great to see this happening for you. So thrilled for you. There's just celebration for you in the comments throughout. And I think it'd be great if we can just save the chat. Of course, we can capture all of that. So we've got here, question, what is one of the most influential ways that women can both be their authentic selves and at the same time challenge or break through the male-dominated walls, which often tend to stand in total opposition to authenticity? So how can you be authentic when there are so many opposing forces to that?
There's a few things that we need to unpack here. First of all, authentic leadership and authenticity is like a buzzword right now. And, you know, we band it around without really much consideration for what that really means. So a really great starting point for everyone here right now is to think about the question of who am I? And I ask this question on a daily basis. And it's surprising just how when you get off that kind of like off that straight, you know, off the top of your head kind of babble, then beneath that, oftentimes we haven't really done much thinking around who am I really? And oftentimes that question is plagued with BFDLs, right? Big fat dirty lies. around who we are. I'm still doing the work to discover myself. So in the book, we speak of the habit number 1 actually is called radical authenticity. It's asking the question, who am I? And deciding to go to live from that place. It's one thing knowing that I'm a powerful Black woman, but if I'm not showing up as a powerful Black woman, that's inauthentic. So there is this work to do, and it's really work. It's not easy, and all of us have a place where it's harder to show up, and oftentimes that's in the boardroom or the professional space, that we don't know what it means to really bring who we're discovering we are to that workplace. But then when it comes to influencing people and being seen, one of the habits is respect. All of the habits are going to help you with this question, but one of the habits is respect. I remember speaking to somebody who told me that the woman that she's working with is a cold, heartless bitch. I don't even think she's got a pulse. Now, you don't get to influence people that you don't respect. And oftentimes, behind the mask and behind the scenes, we're carrying so much resentment and stories and ideas about how people, how we see other people, people that we work with, people that we lead. And so sometimes, that just needs unpacking a little bit and cleaning up, because you don't get to influence for real people that you don't respect. You just don't get to. And, there's a lot of work around finding your true respect and honor and your true voice that create this compelling, powerful magnetism, that if you have respect and honor and a very clear hook, message, idea and heart for the mission, then something really powerful happens in communication. A lot of communication that isn't working right now because something's going on inside of you, inside of them, and there's this mismatch. There's work to saying hard things. The other thing that I really want to say is that there's 2 things. One is about keeping it mission focused, because oftentimes we get personal, I don't like her or I don't like him for whatever reason that is. And actually, who cares about that? What we really need to keep bringing it back to is the mission. Like, what's the mission here? And what do they have that's good for the mission? And what do I bring that's good for the mission? Keeping it mission focused is a really powerful way to get through these challenges that happen in male-dominated fields where women are finding power struggle is the mainstay of the day. Yeah. When you slow these altercations down, when you sit someone down who's in the conflict or in the challenge or in experiencing the pushback, and you sit someone down and you begin to unpack it slowly, people can get to see how they're creating, how they're complicit in creating the stuff. And I'm not saying that there aren't outward forces that work against change. There aren't stubborn situations that want to continue when they need to change, but all of that's real. But there's so much more we could do to edge our bets to shifting the needle that we need to learn, and we can learn it in this book.
So Dee, thank you so much. And Caroline, thank you so much for your question. Because of time, we're not going to be able to answer all of the questions that have been posed in the chat, and many of them are incredible. So what we're going to do, Dee, if I can invite you to do this, I've saved the chat. I'll send over the questions, and perhaps over time you could do a blog post to respond to some of those questions, because they are beautiful questions, which will be relevant to your audience. What I would like to do is ask you the final question, really, which is this. What are your dreams and your plans for this book, ultimately? Can you tell us that?
Huge dreams. After George Floyd got murdered on TV, I put feelers out in my network across social media land And I heard three really distinct responses from the women in my network. The first response was indifference. So people saying, you know, inequality is not that big a deal. Injustice is not really, it's American, or, you know, it's not really our problem, or it's not really a real thing. So indifference. The second response I heard loud and clear was shock and horror. Shock that, you know, that racism or inequality or injustice is still real in 2020. But there was another sound that I heard coming from my network. And this sound was, yes, acknowledgement. That yes, things are not good. I see the injustice in my realm. I see the inequality around me, in the system that I'm part of. It's just that it feels like, can it even shift? Can it get better? I want the book to be the thing, the catalyst that helps these women know that it can be better, and not just it can be better, but it can be better through your leadership. It can be better through your showing up. It can be better because you are there. It can, miracle things can happen if you begin to understand that there's more to you than meets the eye. I've written this book because I want to introduce women to their power. When I was a midwife, I saw it in the labor room, but now we really need that same womanity in the boardroom. We really need it in industry, because we are at tipping point and the door's open. And I want everyone that reads the book to know that they are part of the solution. That's really it. I want women to reconnect with their power, reconnect with their authority to influence and change the way that our world is shaping up. You know, the world that we're growing old in, and the world that we're getting ready to hand over to our grandchildren. You know, we must shift in our understanding about the role that we play, and that's what I want the book to do.
Dee, thank you. Thank you so much for being willing to push past vulnerability, push past self-doubt, push past the negative self-talk that no doubt you would have faced, and to bring this to the table for us today, so that we challenged and sharpened and inspired. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be coming to the close of the evening. Can I invite you please to get your glasses, as I asked you to do earlier on. We'll be raising a toast shortly, but before I do, I'd like to just extend my thanks this evening to all of the people who have contributed today. Thank you, of course, to Michelle Pilling, who's contributed. Thank you to Paul O'Brien. Thank you to all of those who gave testimonials for this event, and those who gave the endorsements. Thank you very much for supporting Dion in all of her efforts today to ensure that we had the opportunity to hear what was on her heart. I'd also like to extend huge thanks to Robert Johnson, who's been behind the scenes for some time, helping us to ensure that this event has run as smoothly as it possibly could. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you, of course, to Denise Johnson, Dion's sister, who has been an avid cheerleader and champion behind the scenes as well. Well done to all of you. And I'd like us now to raise a collective toast. Can we unmute ourselves collectively? And can we all raise a glass? So you can unmute yourself. Thank you very much. Can we unmute ourselves? And we're all going to say,
Congratulations. Well done, Dion. Well done, DJ.
Many congratulations, Dion. Not disappearing just yet. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
That's for me,
Oh,
mom.
that's mom. That's mom. Oh, wonderful. Really proud of you. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, please hang on, because we have also saved something special for you to the very end, and that is a very incredible poet, David Nita. And I've been watching some of David's work in very recent times, being introduced to his work by Dion. And I can tell you that it is without a shadow of a doubt that I'm very much looking forward to the work that was specifically commissioned for today's event. And so I'm going to invite Dave to come on, please, and share with us that which you have prepared for this evening. And then when you've shared that, we'll close the evening off. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sharon. And well, thank you everybody for joining. And I must say, all of us who know Dion will know three things about her: that she's sagacious, indeed she's a wise woman. She is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, and she's generous. And Dion, we want to thank you for gifting this book in our community and indeed to the world. You have written a book here, Influential Woman, but it's for all of us, really. And I had to go through my selection of poems, and I wrote this one some time ago, and I thought it might be appropriate for the evening. And although it says River Woman, like your book, Dion, it's for everybody, but really inspired by women, the kindness and the healing nature of women. River Woman. And your tears wash away all the pain, the aches of a broken soul. A river in your teardrop, your lakes of balm, your heart of molten gold. And your sweat on your skin is sweet. As you toil in the soil for the young and the old, a bead from your brow burns a trail down your cheek. Your charity shows up bold. And your tears wash away all the pain, the hurt of neglected youth. Your love overflows and wash away the lies, restoring eternal truth. As you bear more weight, press deeper in the sand, the moonlight shows your root. And you lift the little ones across the gate, good ground for them to take root. And your tears wash away all the pain, the damage of the downtrodden folk. And as your music flows to their inner sanctum, the spirit is no longer broke. There is a smashing of abominable yoke, and the flame of the goodness is stoked. And as elation ripples through the space, inspiration lifts everyone. And at the sound of the beautiful voices, even the angels sing along. And as your tears wash away all the pain of the one and the many and the few, and your tears break the dam and your river overflows, healing everyone and you, touching everyone, moving everyone, healing everyone and you. Thank you.
Benediction. Thank you.
That was
so
brilliant,
much.
David. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you to every single one of you who has joined us this evening. You have exceptional celebration of a gift to herself. And Dion, tonight we celebrate you. We thank you for your sacrifice. We thank you for doing that which was necessary for such a time as this. And what we do is pray good speed to your book. May it be impactful for many lives for generations to come. Blessings to you all, and thank you all again, and good night.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I love you, every single one of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Night, darling.
Oh, Michelle. Mwah.
I'm reading as we speak. It's amazing.
Let's talk.
Talk soon.
No,
All you want is thank you, Joe.
Well done, John.
Congratulations.
Well done and congratulations.
I
really done to get that book.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
Hi, Carol. Thank you for
Hi, dear.
making it.
Yes, I came late, but I thought I had to come. So well done, Dion. It was brilliant. You're an amazing woman.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Dion.
Wow. Thank you. Nancy, thank you so much for being here. Sharon, thank you. Miss
Congrats,
Sharon.
congrats.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Maria.
Well done,
love you.
Dion.
Uncle
Good night.
Bobby. Uncle Bobby. Hi, Denise.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Thank you for coming, Joe. Thank you, Maria. Lauren, love you. Yawa. Oh my goodness. And Barbara Chambers, thank you so much for coming. Caroline, thank you for being here. Sandra Moody, love you. Lynn Bromley, hi, thank you for coming. Oh, Jenna, love to you. Oh my gosh. People here. Hello, Baba. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you for the wine, Dad. Thank you. Beverly, thank you for coming. Uncle Bobby, Diana, thank you. I'm glad you made it. Tim, lovely to see you here. James, oh my goodness. Riri, love you. Thank you, Riri. Thank you, Hannah, for being here. Oh my goodness. I'm going to catch up with all the comments. I don't want to miss not one. And if there's any questions unanswered, I will definitely do a video to do that. Hi, Barty. Congratulations, Barty. We need to catch up very, very soon. Nikki Tapley, thank you for being here. Oh, wow. Oh, Eileen. Hi, Eileen Murray Giles. Cheers, woman. Thank you for being here. Helen, thank you. Beverly. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Joan. Oh, Joan, thank you so much for being here. Wowza. Wowza.
Good night, Dion. Congratulations.
Oh, wowza. It's been amazing. Cheers. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Oh, Rosemary made it. Thank you, Rosemary, for coming. Monique. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, David. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank Emma. Are you on the line, Emma? She gone? Oh my gosh. Olayinka, thank you for coming. What an amazing night. Carol, love you. Thank you for being here. Oh, wow. Thank you, Anna. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. That's been overwhelming. Okay, what do we do now? Denise?
Denise is on the other line now. So
okay, what do we do now, Rob? Are we going to meet?
Yeah, so we're on my bridge. I will end this one now. I'll stop the sharing, stop the recording, and Sharon has joined my bridge already. Okay. So
okay.
I'll see you on that one. Okay.
I'm going to go back on the other one. All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.